Mīlītāñt warn of heavy bloodshed. Stop payments of 13% derivative funds to Niger Delta governors. Mīlītāñt warn of heavy bloodshed as federal government remain adamant. Continues paying 13% derivative funds to Niger Delta governors. There is mounting tension along the creeks and waterways of the 9 states of the Niger Delta following the declaration by 9 militant groups to dump the existing ceasefire agreement with the federal government and resume armed agitation in the region over the alleged refusal of President Muhammadu Buhari to stop the payment of 13% derivation to state governors of the region. The militant groups under the aegis of the Reformed Niger Delta Avengers (RNDA) said, for the fact that the series of complaints and petitions against the state governors' diversion of the monies into personal pockets seem to have fallen on deaf ears, there will be bloodshed and shutting down of the nation's economy. The militant groups, through the self-styled Major General John Mark Ezonabi, also known as Obama, frowned at the continuous payment of 13% derivation funds to state governors, despite protests and suggestion that it be paid to the oil-producing communities in the region in order to improve the direct welfare and infrastructural needs of the oil communities in the region. According to Ezonabi, the militant groups, after an emergency meeting held in Delta State, have concluded that they will soon collapse the ceasefire agreement entered with the federal government since on the 21st of August 2016 if the payment of 13% derivation fund continues to state governors in the region. He said the reaction will be bloody in the Greek if our demands are not met, because we will not fold our arms and continue to tolerate the deliberate perpetual injury occasioned by the governors of the oil-producing states to the people of the region, who are from the oil-producing communities in the Greeks. According to the militant groups, there is serious deliberate neglect by the governors of the region, despite receiving such huge amounts monthly, while the people in the communities are abandoned and left to suffer while the governors live flamboyantly without human feeling for their fellow kinsmen. The group said the people are suffering the most hazard from the exploitation and exploration activities, from the drilling of the crude oil from the communities in the Greeks, and left with no meaningful development and human empowerment despite the billions and trillions being collected by these governors on behalf of the oil-producing communities. The level of deliberate abandonment and neglect by the governors of the South-South states, who are receiving over 180 billion to 200 billion yearly from the Federation account as payment of 13% derivation funds from the federal government on behalf of the oil-producing communities in the region as part payment to develop the oil-producing communities. Painfully, he said the governors have channeled the fund into their pockets with their cronies and turned deaf ears to the people. The governors have deliberately refused to use the funds to develop these oil-producing communities in the Greeks, while leaving them in total darkness and abject poverty without any significant infrastructural development as they continue to suffer environmental pollution, degradation, exploration, and exploitation activities in these communities. We want to believe that President Muhammadu Buhari understands that the RNDA, in making the demands to stop the payments based on the fact that oil and gas is in the exclusive legislative list of the 1999 Constitution, which oil is number 38 item on the exclusive legislative list, while the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Police Force, and other law enforcement agencies are on number 39 on the exclusive legislative list. The group said, by the virtue of these facts, the 13% derivation funds are in the prerogative right of Mr. President to allocate the funds to the oil and gas producing communities for the interest of peace and development, and in order to avoid any looming bombshell of fresh hostilities in the region. We are watching and waiting for Mr. President to do the needful by stopping the payment of 13% derivatives fund to the governors, but paid to the right people from the oil and gas producing communities. We call on the President to consider establishing NOGCDEC that will receive and implement the 13% derivative funds which representatives from the oil producing community across the region will constitute it for proper and blanket development of the communities. Thank you for listening to this news. The federal government will not say that they are not aware of this long-time request of the Niger Delta. And besides, this is not the request of these Niger Deltans is not a big thing. It's a very simple thing that they are asking for and they are begging for. They are not saying that you should not pay them the 13%, but the channel in which this payment is going through, the channel in which this payment is passing is what they are lamenting of. Do you understand? They are saying that channel is the wrong channel. That going through that channel, that money doesn't reach them. So they are saying that channel should be stopped and diverted to this channel. That if it's diverted to this body, to the body that they have listed earlier, that definitely it will surely reach them. Now, this is why these people are agitating for this. If you can recall very well, last year, the president claimed to have released 40 billion naira to NDDC through the minister of petroleum. You understand? Now, this money that was released, the money supposed to be used for implementation and development of the Niger Delta. This money, instead of being used for what it's meant for, this money was splitted within the managers who claim to use this money to execute one project or the other. Then along the line, while investigation is being carried out, they discover that some of them collected this money, started this project and stopped halfway, while some didn't even do anything. They left the money in the account, waiting for the administration to come and go so that they can demand for another one. So you can see why they are saying that they don't like the channel in which that money is going through. So that they said if only this money can pass through this channel, that definitely it will reach them and not through the governors anymore, because they are using it for their personal selves. So it is not a big thing. Let the federal government hit to their core to avoid any further war. Alright, let me hear from you and know what you have to say about all this. If you're new on this channel, do me free to click on the red subscribe button as well as bell button to receive more updates. Thank you.